Welcome to our deep dive into Million-Dollar Habits. You've given us your notes and excerpts from Brian Tracy's book, and it seems like you're ready to unlock some serious potential.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to put it. We're going to go beyond just listing habits, though. We're going to explore the psychology behind them, the why that makes them so powerful. Think of it as a cheat sheet for understanding how successful people think and act.
Okay, so Tracy starts with this idea of mental laws and self-concept. What are these mental laws all about?
Well, they sound a little mystical. At first glance. I mean, you got names like the law of control and the law of attraction, but they actually connect to some really well-established psychological principles. So, for example, the law of control relates directly to the concept of locus of control in psychology.
Okay, so is that like where someone with an internal locus of control believes they can shape their own destiny, and someone with an external locus of control feels more like things just happen to them?
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Sure.
And that belief has a huge impact on your actions and ultimately your outcomes. And if you believe you're in control, you're more likely to take initiative, set goals, persevere through challenges.
That makes a lot of sense. And what about this law of attraction? Everyone seems to be talking about that these days.
It's everywhere, right? Well, Tracy ties it back to the power of your self-concept.
Yeah.
So your self-concept is essentially how you see yourself, your beliefs about your abilities and limitations.
Right.
And the law of attraction suggests that you attract what you focus on.
Okay.
So if you're constantly thinking about success, visualizing yourself, achieving your goals, you're more likely to take actions that lead to those outcomes.
So it's not just about wishing and hoping. It's about shaping your beliefs and aligning your actions with your desired results.
Yeah, I think aligning your actions is a great way to put it. You have to walk the walk right. And that's where the idea of a self-ideal comes in. Tracy suggests actually writing down all the qualities you admire in yourself and others, the virtues that you aspire to embody.
So this is like creating a blueprint for the best version of yourself.
Exactly. It is like a blueprint. And by focusing on that ideal, constantly reminding yourself of who you want to become, you start to shift your self-concept. You begin to believe it's possible. And that belief drives you to take action.
Now, he also talks about the importance of role models, right? I remember being fascinated by certain people as a kid, wanting to be just like them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Role models are huge. Tracy emphasizes that. They play a huge role in shaping our aspirations and values, especially those we encounter early in life. They show us what's possible and inspire us to reach for more. He suggests that even as adults, we should be actively choosing role models, people who embody the qualities we want to cultivate in ourselves.
That's really interesting. So much of this comes down to our mindset.
Yeah.
Our beliefs about ourselves and what's possible.
Absolutely. It's like the foundation upon which everything else is built. And Tracy ties this back to a key concept he calls comfort zones. He argues that we all have these psychological comfort zones, these familiar patterns of behavior and thinking. But often, those comfort zones can limit our potential.
So staying in your comfort zone might feel safe, but it can also prevent you from growing and achieving what you're truly capable of.
Exactly. It can be a trap. It's like if your comfort zone is earning a certain amount of money, you might stay stuck at that level, even if you have the skills and potential to earn much more. You might unconsciously sabotage your own efforts to move beyond that limit because it feels unfamiliar and scary.
That's a powerful insight. It makes you think, what are my own comfort zones? What limiting beliefs might be holding me back?
I think those are excellent questions to ask yourself because once you identify those limitations, you can start to challenge them and expand your comfort zone.
So we've talked about mindset and self-concept. But how do we actually put these mental laws into action? This is where habits come in, right?
Yeah. Habits are where the rubber meets the road. Tracy really dives deep into this whole law of habit thing, explaining that any habit, good or bad, is essentially learned behavior. And what's so fascinating is our brains are actually wired to automate these behaviors. So they become almost effortless over time.
So it's like learning to ride a bike. At first, it takes a lot of conscious effort and concentration, but eventually becomes second nature. You don't even have to think about it.
That's a perfect analogy. And the same principle applies to building million-dollar habits. Tracy uses this SBC model to illustrate this stimulus behavior consequence. He gives the classic example of Pavlov's dog.
Right.
The sound of the bell triggered the behavior salivation because the dog learned to associate it with the consequence receiving food.
So our brains are constantly creating these associations, linking certain stimuli to specific behaviors and outcomes. And over time, these associations become so strong that our actions become automatic.
Exactly. And this understanding is key to breaking bad habits and forming new positive ones. Tracy suggests several strategies for doing this. Like talking to yourself positively, rewarding yourself for progress, and most importantly, never allowing an exception, even just once.
That no exceptions rule seems tough, but I can see how it would be crucial for solidifying those new neural pathways. It's like if you're trying to quit smoking, one cigarette can trigger that whole cascade of cravings and associations.
You got it. Consistency is key when it comes to habit formation. Now, Tracy goes on to explore some of the specific million-dollar habits that he's observed in successful people. And one of the areas he emphasizes is building a financially strong life.
Okay, this is something I'm really interested in. I've been trying to get better with my finances, but it's a constant struggle.
Well, you're not alone. A lot of people struggle with money management. But Tracy breaks it down into a few key principles. He starts with the importance of frugal living, being mindful of your spending and making conscious choices about where your money goes.
That makes sense. It's not about depriving yourself, but about being more intentional with your resources.
Exactly. And then he talks about the power of saving regularly. Even small amounts saved consistently over time can add up significantly thanks to the magic of compound interest.
Right.
He even suggests a specific strategy called the wedge theory, where you save 50% of every pay raise you receive.
Wow, 50%. That seems like a lot, but I can see how it would make a huge difference in the long run. It's like automatically building that financial cushion without even feeling the pinch.
Exactly. It's about shifting your mindset from spending everything you earn to prioritizing saving and investing for the future. And speaking of investing, Tracy stresses the importance of making wise investment decisions.
So it's not about chasing get-rich-quick schemes, but about understanding how different investments work and making informed choices that align with your long-term goals.
Exactly. It's about building a solid financial foundation, step by step, brick by brick. Now, beyond personal finances, Tracy also delves into million-dollar habits for career success. He emphasizes the importance of finding your niche, focusing on results, and consistently exceeding customer expectations.
This reminds me of something you mentioned earlier about comfort zones. It seems like a lot of people get stuck in jobs they don't really enjoy just because it feels familiar and safe.
You're absolutely right. Tracy encourages people to identify their passions, their unique strengths, and find ways to align their work with those passions. He argues that when you're truly engaged in what you're doing, you're more likely to excel and achieve remarkable results.
And he talks about aiming to become one of the top performers in your field within 5 to 7 years. Right. That sounds ambitious, but it also highlights the importance of setting high standards for yourself and being willing to put in the work to reach them.
Exactly. It's about having that growth mindset, constantly seeking ways to learn and improve, and always striving to deliver exceptional value. And this applies whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee, or even a student.
He also stresses the importance of customer service.
Right.
It seems like in today's world, with so much competition, going above and beyond for your customers can really make a difference.
Absolutely. Tracy highlights that building strong relationships with customers is essential for any business. Whether you're selling products or services, it's about creating a positive experience, exceeding expectations, and building that trust and loyalty that keeps customers coming back for more.
So it's not just about closing the deal, it's about cultivating those long-term relationships and creating a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Precisely. Now, Tracy doesn't just focus on individual success. He recognizes that we don't achieve our goals in isolation. He emphasizes the power of relationships, both personally and professionally, as a key ingredient in achieving million-dollar success.
So let's dive into that. What are some of the key habits Tracy suggests for building stronger, more fulfilling relationships? So let's dive into that. What are some of the key habits Tracy suggests for building stronger, more fulfilling relationships?
Well, he outlines 5 key habits that can really transform your relationships. These habits focus on fostering genuine connection and making the people in your life feel valued and appreciated.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the first one?
He starts with acceptance. It's about accepting people for who they are, flaws and all, without trying to change them.
Right.
This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they do, but it's about acknowledging their individuality and respecting their perspectives, even if they differ from your own.
That makes sense. Trying to force people into a mold rarely works. It often creates resentment and distance.
Exactly. And then comes appreciation. It's about recognizing and expressing gratitude for the people in your life and what they bring to the table. The small gestures of thanks, those words of affirmation that let people know you see them, you value them.
I've noticed that when I make a conscious effort to express appreciation to people, it not only brightens their day, but also makes me feel more connected to them. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. And Tracy also emphasizes the importance of admiration. So it's about acknowledging and celebrating the positive qualities in others, their strengths, their talents, their unique contributions.
So instead of focusing on what we don't like about people, we should try to shine a light on their best qualities.
Exactly. And by doing so, you not only uplift them, but also inspire them to be even better versions of themselves. Then there's approval, which is about offering genuine praise and encouragement to those around you. It's about celebrating their wins, big or small, and providing support when they face challenges.
This reminds me of something we talked about earlier, the law of attraction. By focusing on the positive aspects of people, we're not only strengthening the relationship, but also contributing to their growth and success.
That's a great connection. And finally, there's attention. So this is about truly listening to what others have to say, making them feel heard and understood. Putting down your phone, silencing your inner monologue, and giving them your undivided presence.
That's so important. In today's world where we're constantly bombarded with distractions, truly listening to someone is a rare and precious gift.
You're absolutely right. These 5 habits, acceptance, appreciation, admiration, approval, and attention, are powerful tools for building deeper, more meaningful relationships, both personally and professionally. And they tie back to a fundamental human need, the need to feel valued and important.
Now, Tracy also talks about the importance of forgiveness in maintaining healthy relationships.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
He emphasizes that holding on to grudges only hurts you in the long run.
Right.
He shares a personal anecdote about a time when his wife accidentally damaged his car.
Oh, no.
His initial reaction was anger and frustration. But then he realized that material possessions could be replaced. What mattered most was that everyone was safe, and that his relationship with his wife was far more valuable than any car.
That's a powerful reminder that forgiveness is often more about freeing ourselves from anger and resentment than it is about the other person. It's about choosing to move forward rather than staying stuck in the past.
Exactly. And he makes a distinction between facts and problems. Facts are unchangeable like the past, while problems are things we can actually solve. He encourages us to accept the facts, however unpleasant they may be, and focus our energy on finding solutions to the problems we face.
That's a really helpful distinction. It reminds me of that serenity prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
That's a perfect example. Now, along with relationships, Tracy also dives into the importance of personal health and character development. He argues that taking care of your physical well-being and cultivating strong character are essential for achieving lasting success and fulfillment.
He's a big advocate for eliminating white flour, sugar, and salt from the diet, right? He calls them the 3 white poisons.
Yeah, he does. He emphasizes that what you eat has a profound impact on your energy levels, your mood, even your ability to think clearly. He also highlights the importance of regular exercise, not just for physical fitness, but for mental clarity and stress reduction.
And one thing that really stuck with me was his discussion of the appestat, the part of the brain that controls our appetite. He explains that by eating slowly and mindfully, we give our appestat time to catch up and signal that we're full.
That's such a practical tip. It's about becoming more aware of our body's signals and making conscious choices that support our well-being.
And he's a firm believer in the power of persistence, right? That ability to keep going even when things get tough.
Absolutely. He argues that persistence is self-discipline in action, and that it builds self-esteem, which ultimately leads to greater success in all areas of life. He even suggests writing down your goals every single day, not just once, but daily, to keep them top of mind and reinforce your commitment to achieving them.
That's a great idea. It's like creating a daily ritual that reminds you of what you're working towards. It's about staying focused and motivated even when faced with setbacks or distractions.
Exactly. And he also highlights the importance of benevolence, being generous with others, and contributing to something bigger than yourself. He believes that true happiness comes from giving back, from making a positive impact on the world.
So it's not just about personal gain, it's about using your success to make a difference in the lives of others.
Precisely. And finally, he ties character development back to those mental laws we discussed earlier. Your thoughts and actions shape your character, and your character shapes your destiny. He emphasizes the importance of honesty, integrity, courage, and responsibility in building a strong character.
So it's about living in alignment with your values even when it's difficult and taking responsibility for your choices and their consequences.
Exactly. It's about stepping into that leadership role in your own life, not waiting for permission or approval, but taking charge and making things happen.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. What stood out to you the most?
You know what really resonated with me was how Tracy emphasizes the interconnectedness of these habits. It's not just about isolated actions, it's about cultivating a mindset, a way of being in the world that naturally attracts success, happiness, and fulfillment.
It's like creating a virtuous cycle. Positive habits lead to positive outcomes, which reinforce those habits and so on.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
And these habits provide a roadmap to help you navigate that journey more effectively.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listener with?
Remember, success is not an accident. It's the result of consistent effort, positive habits, and a commitment to becoming the best version of yourself.
Beautifully said. So what will you do differently based on what we've discussed today? Which habit will you focus on first? What small step can you take right now to start incorporating these principles into your life? Remember, even small changes made consistently can lead to remarkable results over time. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into million-dollar habits. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.